Kala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles who taught me this truth. This is your brother Dawad, the real brother beloved, and this is only for the elect.
The warning from the CDC, the coronavirus is spreading so quickly around the globe, it may only be a matter of time before it begins rolling across the U.S. with the potential to become a pandemic.
When you have influx of individuals who are infected from multiple countries, then the danger of that outbreak in this country increases substantially.
So far, health experts say the risk in the U.S. is low, only 57 known cases. But the Centers for Disease Control is now advising employers and schools to think about planning for widespread disruptions, like limiting travel and large meetings, allowing workers to telework, and closing schools or allowing internet schoolwork.
We want people to be ready in terms of if we do see community spread, what would that mean to you?
Shalom Yasharala. What's playing out in China, Italy, South Korea, and pretty much all over the globe is definitely going to play out in America. Federal health officials have confirmed that COVID-19, aka the Kobe virus, Kobe because when the actual word of COVID is placed in the Google Translator, it renders Kobe in the Hebrew. A clear indication Esau is watching these sit-down breakdowns. In any event, the CDC has confirmed the virus will absolutely spread in the U.S., no longer being a matter of if, but when, and that hospitals, businesses, and schools should begin prepping. Shortly after the press release / news conference, the stock markets bombed for the second day in a row, Dow dropping 1,000 points. Incidentally, the containment approach they took in China that they are now using in Italy and that is undoubtedly coming to the U.S. was predicted a month ago by a CDC insider, but I say that to say this. Whether you believe it's an orchestrated attack or a legitimate outbreak with the potential to kill millions of people, life as you know it in America is going to change drastically and significantly. This is Psalms chapter 64, verse 2, and it reads, "Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked," meaning where wicked men meet to consult, and the counsel itself they take in each other's confidence, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Insurrection meaning a violent uprising against an authority or government. That authority is Yahweh, and the government is Yahweh Shai, the house of David, kingdom of Israel. We know the workers of iniquity, labors of sin and wickedness, to be Esau, Edom. This time his labor of love is the coronavirus outbreak. Verse 3. Who whet their tongue like a sword. To whet means to sharpen. In this case, they are sharpening their scale, strategizing how they're going to decimate millions, sink the economy, declare martial law, mandate vaccination, and, of course, enforce the implantation of the RFID microchip, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, meaning execute their plans and put them in effect. Even bitter words, meaning how they're going to sell this death to the public. Always keep in mind their target market is Israel. The Aramaic Bible translates, they anoint their arrows with deadly and bitter poison. Verse 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Again, as I said, their target market is always Israel. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They carry out these agendas with no fear of Yahweh or his judgment. The fact that in October 2019, the UN, the World Health Organization, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and his cohorts, the World Economic Forum, and Hopkins Bloomberg Center for Health put together Event 201, which is nothing more than Agenda 2021, Salakia 2030 if you're nasty, inside joke, and carried out this very same scenario cannot be an accident, pretty much confirming it was planned inside out. Verse 5, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Now, this is perfectly fits the nuance they refer to as hidden in plain sight. The powers that be are definitely prepared to stay this course, My take being they intentionally initiated this end time sequence. It's clear that they allowed this virus to spiral out of control. Hasn't been declared a pandemic as of late, but most likely it's because they don't want to create mass panic yet. But the reality is the virus is mutating, and so how a vaccine can actually negate widespread death is anybody's guess. And I say that facetiously, being this undoubtedly is an orchestrated attack. They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. During the Event 201 discussion, those dastardly demons also suggested infiltrating faith-based groups. So if you come across any so-called Israelite group that is still adverse to the idea the RFID microchip is in fact the mark of the beast, it is more than likely he's gone. Sold out to the highest bidder. This is Ciroc, also known as Ecclesiasticus chapter 31, verse 5, and it reads, "He that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. Gold hath been the ruin of many, and the destruction was present. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken therewith." Promise of riches and gifts of monetary gain corrupt righteousness. Your man Comfy about to do basketball numbers can tell you that. What needs to be also pointed out, important to know, especially for brothers in this truth, all parties involved in the Event 201 panel spent a good amount of time on not ways to assist those infected by the virus, but measures needed to be taken in order to censor and dispel any information that contradicts or points out the hypocrisy and savagery in their agenda. Penalties have been put in place where they can't even arrest you for speaking the truth, let alone suggesting alternative treatments. This is Revelation chapter 2, verse 10, and it reads, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." Meaning some of Israel will be delivered into the hands of this filthy beast, and some will even be martyred. This is Revelation chapter 14 and 12. Right to the point. Here is the patience of the saints. The saints are the Israelites, the men of the Lord, pursuant to Psalms chapter 50, verse 5. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shah. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead which die in the Most High from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. So live or die, your deeds do follow you, and pursuant to 2 Ezra 15 and 9, the innocent blood shed of Israel will be avenged. Anywho, those who aren't directly affected by the coronavirus will be inadvertently affected, and that's guaranteed. An example of that is the stock market taking a plunge, the global economy also in a downward spiral and significantly getting worse. Officially, the American government has come out to caution the public to stockpile water and food in preparation for rough times ahead. The truth is, nothing is going to be the same. Work, travel, the way we receive information even is subject to change. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1, and it reads, He answered me then, and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest the part of the signs which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So when we have witnessed most of these prophecies come to pass, including sightings of what the world ignorantly calls extraterrestrial phenomenon, the plagues and pestilences, uproars, uprisings, earthquakes, etc., know that the Most High is on his way. Verse 3, Therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. And a good precept there is Isaiah chapter 46, verse 10. Meaning we could find strength in knowing the words of Yahweh spoke through his prophets are true, and before our eyes what he has predetermined is coming to pass. So this new revelation passed down by the powers that shouldn't be, and all that this soon-to-be declared pandemic entails, should be of no surprise. None of this should be astonishing to the hopeful elect. We have been prophesying this for years, starting from the others on down. This is Psalms 147:18, and it reads, He sendeth out his word, and melteth them being Esau and the other nations. He causeth his wind to blow, and the waters flow. He sheweth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. His word is laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments, particularly what should befall those who are in the truth as well as those adverse to it. Found in the Bible the set apart scriptures. Verse 20, He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Meaning no other nation will receive his salvation. They have none to do with his covenant, nor his dark sayings, and those evildoers responsible for this March Madness will experience his indignation very soon. Praise ye Yahweh. This is Baruch chapter 3, verse 36, and it reads, He hath found out all the way of knowledge, and hath given it unto Jacob his servant, and to Israel his beloved. Afterward did he shew himself upon the earth and converse with men, as he did with Yahweh Shai and the prophets. I wrote a short blurb about the possibility of such an outbreak years ago, which has since been removed from my page, don't you know? But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, I had come across a video where Bill Gates was discussing the threat of a pandemic that could, in his words, potentially wipe out millions. This was in 2017. Fast forward to 2020. This is what actually led me to the conclusion that, the pestilence we're seeing materialize and wreak havoc before our eyes was no accident. I got the clip queued up here. I'm gonna play it for you.
An epidemic, either naturally caused or intentionally
caused, is the most
It's the most likely thing to cause, say, 10 million excess deaths, and that it's pretty surprising how little preparedness there is for it. Now, it's tricky because this is a global problem, so how do countries work together? Which countries should put up what resources? And every aspect of it, the resources to go engage in the affected countries, the allocation decisions. As we've seen various flu scares come along, we haven't had a super good response. So the paradigmatic examples are smallpox for an intentionally caused thing, that there was a simulation called Dark Winter that didn't come out very well, i.e. smallpox scored 1 and humanity scored 0. Flu epidemics, where we always talk about the potential recurrence of a 1917 like Spanish flu problem, and then Ebola, which although it was much smaller, there was some luck involved in that. Because it wasn't spread through respiratory contact, the reproductive rate was a lot lower, and it was basically people who were sick or dead who were doing most of the transmission.
I'm also convinced the CDC has known for a long time how bad this was going to get. Again, I would suggest because they didn't want to set the public off until they could get a handle on the response. A lot of the information has been, concerning the subject has been deemed fake and therefore suppressed, which I also had alluded to prior, which goes into the layout of the next video I'm about to upload, detailing key agendas the New World Order seeks to impose. So without having to issue a spoiler alert, I'll end this part of the topic here. Now, because of government spending and cuts, the Democrats have come out to suggest America is left more vulnerable to the effect the coronavirus could have on U.S. citizens, leaving many more susceptible to outbreak. Now, this goes into Trump, who was, at first he was anti-sticking your little ones with needles, now switching gears on the issue. Consequently, online truthers have suggested this, for him, has become a monetary issue and linked it to the effects of and financial veracity supporting 5G. This is Psalms 49 and 11, and it reads, "Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations." Esau's pride is fueled from the idea his nation, which is far more superior, will rule over the earth forever. Okay, buddy. They call their lands after their own names. Verse 12. "Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not," meaning Esau has no honor. He'll sell his own mama to get what he wants. "He is like the beasts that perish," meaning he has no understanding in the ways of the Most High Power, and so he'll be cut off. A good precept to that is Ecclesiastes 3:19. Verse 13. "This their way is their folly," meaning their pride in their riches, their trust in their wealth, and socio-political status being their right to rule is foolhardy and will obviously be the cause leading to their undoing. Yet their posterity approve their sayings, meaning they stand justified in the fact they, from generation to generation, have maintained rulership this way. Salah. A little off topic, but some facts you should know. And where I got all this info, I'll be sharing. I'll place links to in the description box as usual. Did you know that there's a plan to create surveillance systems for monitoring the spreading of the virus using 5G? The vaccine industry is worth $60 billion and has doubled in the last 6 years. And the CDC is the same people that are responsible for what information you receive via mainstream media concerning the virus. The director of the CDC, whose name is Richard Besser, works as an ABC correspondent. Here's something you won't see that is sure to bolster NISO ratings. Let's watch this clip. A couple more thoughts and I'll close with scripture.
Do any vaccines contain gelatin from pigs?
Yes.
Do any vaccines contain gelatin from pigs? Yes.
Do any vaccines on the childhood vaccine schedule contain human albumin?
Oh, yes.
What is human albumin?
Human albumin is part of human serum. It's part of the blood that is liquid.
Do any vaccines on the childhood schedule contain MRC5 human diploid cells?
Yes. Rubella, varicella, hepatitis A.
What are MRC5 cells?
They are human fibroblast cell strain. They were created by taking fetal tissue and from a particular fetus that was aborted by maternal choice, and the cells, the so-called fibroblast cells, were cultivated.
This study involved 74 fetuses.
76.
76. And these fetuses were all 3 months or older when aborted, correct?
Yes.
What organs did you harvest from these fetuses?
A whole range of tissues were harvested by co-workers.
Okay. And these pieces were then cut up into little pieces, right?
Yes.
And they were cultured?
Yes.
Okay. Are you an atheist? Yes.
Agenda 21, again, also known as Agenda 2030, is currently the most important document, second and third to the scriptures, of course, in the world today, as it is the plan to take total control over every element of a civilian's life, forcing humanity into a sustainable development lifestyle. That is the quote. Will attempt to phase out air travel, which they pretty much have already accomplished, as it seems the coronavirus has smushed the kibosh button on any desire to travel by air or sea. Well, soon that desire will be confronted, as travel is going to be outlawed. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 14, and it reads, "Woe," meaning destruction or impending grief and despair, "to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Meaning not only is this biological warfare the elite has waged on the masses, but the uproars and uprisings to follow, the ensuing clashes between the have and the have-nots, those that will lose everything if the stock market continues to plummet, and those that stand to make millions because of it. Classism and stress and race relations will definitely come into play. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, meaning civil revolt and unrest, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. So basically they'll disregard any edict or any legislation passed down by local or federal government. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power, meaning, you know the saying, might is right. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Now we know along with civil unrest there will come a scarcity of food, a famine if you will, pursuant to 2 Ezra 15:5. But since man cannot live by bread alone, the famine I'm alluding to is, well, let's get it. This is Amos 8:11, and it reads, behold, the days come, saith the Most High Power Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Most High. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Most High, and shall not find it. As I stated earlier, Event 21 discussed taking control of the flow of information, even shutting down the internet to disrupt the flow of misinformation. I myself have experienced what is called a shadow ban on YouTube and Facebook, circumventing my uploads and posts, which is why I'm not really a fan of uploading to YouTube, and I don't really get too political on Facebook. A heads up to the Yakim. Wherever you see a liking of your posts, know that you are being marked as spreading info they don't want to get out. Let me explain why I use this picture here, and I'll close. It was brought up by Salakia. It's brought up by a YouTuber that I listen to. One of the links I'll add, and as he pointed out, the coincidence in what it represents is mind-blowing. And since a picture says 1,000 words, that's all I'm going to say on that. This is 2 Ezra 15:8, and it reads, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Meaning those of Israel who have went back to the essence, now know that they are Yasharallah, who Esau is, and cry out to the Most High, asking when will this madness end? Not much longer. Our redemption draweth nigh. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Ba'Shem Akakudash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles who taught me this truth, who rule well. Shalom Yasharallah, and a Shalak Rayam to you damn demons.
The concern? With a 2% mortality rate at the epicenter in China, the coronavirus is far deadlier than the seasonal flu. Despite the CDC's warnings, President Trump in India today downplayed the risk.
You may ask about the coronavirus, which is very well under control in our country.
The White House is asking Congress for $2.5 billion in emergency funding to deal with the crisis. But on Capitol Hill today, bipartisan criticism that the administration is not doing enough.
The approach right now seems to be take 2 aspirin and call us in the morning.
I'd like to see us investing more than we have been, and probably more than we're even planning at this stage.
Meanwhile, the Trump team insists the economic fallout should be minimal.
We have contained this, I won't say airtight, but pretty close to airtight.
Despite that message, the stock market went into another nosedive today, 879 points. Down 1,900 points and 6% in just 2 days. A lot of focus on how quickly a vaccine could be developed. The NIH says human trials for a vaccine could start within 2 months, but a widely available vaccine that will probably be another 12 to 18 months away.